wouldn't take away from the time. Not just the statute, not just our rules, but the Georgia state laws provides you have to give 10 minutes to each side.
Microphone.
Use the microphone. But,
Can you hear me, Charlie?
yes, sir. I can hear you everybody here. So speaking of that microphone.
Oh,
Anyway, the rules clearly say you got to give up 10 minutes per side, for and against it. That's why I was not able to answer that at the time, because you're cutting into people's time that are in line to speak. But on the issue of the signage, there, and I'm not putting my hand right on that, but basically what's required is you put something inside the house with emergency numbers and so forth. It's not terribly onerous at all. So R3, and that is a very good point, is something that we have talked about. Some people that rezone, it is an amendment to your zoning map. Your zoning map is a two-dimensional thing. It's just two-dimensional. Condos are three-dimensional. You'll have first floor, second floor, third floor. Well, if you have the third floor, or even the second floor of a third floor unit, or a floor unit, you'd almost have to do three-dimensional zoning, and we can't, because we're amending a map. There's not a specific provision in here to get that. If you want to do a second floor condo, there's not a specific provision in here to provide for that. There is a provision in our zoning ordinance, though, for a special use permit. That would be the way to come about that and to pursue that through a special use. We tried to cover everything. I've said many times, trying to do this is like taking a twin-size fitted sheet and putting it on a king-size bed. You get one corner down and it pops up on the other side. You can't cover everything. And we can't, it would be irresponsible not to address this and not to do something. Because if you don't, most of these people that are up here that are complaining because they're an ag, guess what? They are illegal to do what they're doing now. We've got to do something to get them legal. This gets them legal. I don't see what the issue is. I think it's relatively clear. I mean, nothing is perfect, but we've got to address the situation. The only people that are going to be able to run these short-term rentals are those who were previously in vacation cottage or have recently gotten or getting into vacation cottage. Adopting this gives the people who are actively running a short-term rental an opportunity to keep running that. One thing that was brought up also, so just to say it again, if you have a current, and this was in the first reading, and has been, I think, prior to the first reading, but if you have a current short-term rental permit and you are zoned at ag, you can keep doing that for your ownership of that property. If you have a current short-term permit and you are in R1, R2, or R3, you can continue to do that for your ownership of that. If for some reason your permit lapses, if it is suspended or I should say terminated for some reason, or if there is a change in ownership, that status would go away and you would have to go through the zoning process. What the other thing that it was in here, but we didn't clarify until Tom pointed it out. If you are currently not in compliance, if you are running a short-term rental that is not in compliance, this just says you can do it providing you're pursuing compliance, but not more than 12 months. Is that what that was? But you have to be actively pursuing compliance. I think, I can't remember who asked about it's not terribly complicated. There are several people here that, well, number one, if you are in vacation cottage, you just go see Mr. Allyn, you fill out the form, you pay and I need to address this too, what the fee was. If you are advertising for 4 people, that if we look you up on VRBO and it says occupancy of 4, that's $50 per person, that's $200 for the entire year. It's $50 for every person that's advertised and that unit can hold. You get with Allyn, he'll go through the checklist of the different regulations we're dealing with, and you get it. It's a permit by rule. You're entitled to that. You don't ask for it. You're entitled to get it if you're vacation cottage. If you have a piece of property that is not a vacation cottage, and you are wanting to do short-term rental, you would go back to Allyn's zoning office. You would apply to rezone. There's about 6 here that are on the agenda tonight, 5 or 6 that will be that have done this exact process. You would make an application. It has to be advertised. You would go in front of the zoning board 1 month, and even if they don't approve it, it's that they either recommend or they don't recommend. The ultimate say is the commissioners, and then the next month it comes before the commissioners. Like I say, if you stay around, you'll see, and if you've been at the other meetings, you'll see. So far, since this is coming up, I haven't seen one denied yet. I'm assuming there's going to be circumstances where the one would be denied, but so far, one has not been denied. It's not a terribly onerous process, and once that's done, it's done. And once you are in vacation cottage, you are entitled. It's not discretionary. You get that short-term rental permit. If you, like I say, there are existing with a permit and vacated in the ag or R1, you can keep going on that for your entire usage of that property and your ownership of that property. Was there anything else I didn't address?
That was my understanding.
But again, what we're asking, so that child was that
I think so, but I haven't seen a recent draft.
To adopt this, what is proposed as the second reading with the following on section 12-269, it should just say any residence is located in R1, R2, and R3. That single family would go away. And then the other one, I wrote it wrong. On 12-268, it would read any person or entity currently operating a short-term rental may continue to operate until such time as they come into compliance with all applicable administrative regulations, provided that compliance is being actively pursued and that compliance is accomplished within 12 months of the effective date of this ordinance. Active pursuit of compliance is evidenced by applying for all necessary permits, certifications, rezonings, etc. That 12 months, candidly, is for the benefit of the commission. If seeking active compliance is going down, if this is adopted, going and applying, it should be a 2-month process. 12 months was contemplated because there may be a situation where there's a flood of them and we need to stagger them. But that's, like I say, if you're seeking active compliance, it could be just a 2-month process to have a say of whether or not it can be rezoned or not. But the second reading, like I say, with those exceptions, to the change to 12-268 to anybody currently operating And 12-269 would just be any residences and striking the single family. Any other questions on that?
Yeah.
And that's why we have second readings, is so we can make changes like that. That's, it's not a final document until we all have voted on it. Now, previously, we had a first reading that the second reading would not have in any way resembled the first reading. Making corrections like that is no issue at all.
Any further questions or comments?
I just can't help but think, I was asking Charlotte the other day, and our vacation college ordinance has been on the books for how many years?
Well, it came in when we had something. That's
1974?
most of the vacation cottage you see it around the lakes.
But
It's
Okay.
there, yes. We have tried to make provisions and accommodate all the historical uses. That's why, that less than an acre provision, if it's pre-platted in vacation cottage, we've tried to address everything, but at the same time still give the commission discretion to deal with situations that just are not practical and are not tenable.